Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and ever since I saw this tree for the first time, this was long before I started making YouTube videos about fruit, I wanted to bring it to the attention of as many people as possible. In my opinion, this is one of the most dangerous places for filming. So let me okay, never do anything like this, folks. So, the tree here is the 5 o'clock tree. Not the 5 o'clock tea, but the 5 o'clock tree. What is so amazing about it? Well, first, it's gigantic. Close to 2 meters thick, with a lot of bumps and bulbs on the stem. Look at that. From here, the stem would be about 2 meters thick, and this bulb here extends for like 40 more centimeters. Well, the 5 o'clock tree is known as the monkey pot tree in other parts of the world, but in Malaysia it's known as the 5 o'clock tree. It's not native to Malaysia, but it has been very popular in Southeast Asia for a very long period. And especially in Malaysia. I've seen it in other countries like Thailand, Cambodia, yes. In Indonesia it's also quite popular, but here it's everywhere. Actually, there is a bunch of young ones right there at the other side of the road. Well, how old is this tree? I don't know. The city of Kuala Lumpur is less than 150 years old, and this tree, probably it's safe to assume it's around 100 years old. They grow quite fast. Well, what other things are interesting about this tree? It's quite old, it's quite popular in Malaysia. Well, of course, since I'm making a video about it, it has edible fruit. But folks, don't be mad at me, I already made a video where I tasted those fruit. I think this tree might be a popular place for peeing for dogs and men, and so I'm not gonna try the fruit again. The fruit are very sweet, filled with a sugary syrup, but also have some bitterness and astringency to them, so usually the syrup is being extracted to reduce bitterness and astringency. Why is this thing called the 5 o'clock tree? Well, now it's almost 4 o'clock, and I think I can see it slowly starting to close its leaves. In about 1 or 2 hours, the leaves will be almost completely closed. Basically like a mimosa when it's being touched, only that this tree, which is a relative of the mimosa, basically does it every day. Well, every evening. That's why it's called 5 o'clock tree, because usually it would do it around 5 o'clock, just to protect its sensitive leaves. Well, all very interesting things, but the most interesting for me is, look at that. Kuala Lumpur, the capital of one of the countries which had the fastest economic growth in the last couple decades. They've been building everywhere like crazy, including those passageways here. And, well, I live in Germany and everybody says the Germans love trees, but no German architect would have left this tree less than 1 meter away from this bridge, from this tunnel or covered walkway here. Look at that, they cut off a couple of its beautiful branches, made it kind of a little bit asymmetric. That's a pity, but they let the tree live. They did not kill it. Well, this stuff must have been built like 10 to 20 years ago, in the time when Malaysia was not only one of the fastest growing economies, but also had by far the fastest rate of deforestation in the whole wide world. So while they were cutting down their forests like nobody else in the world, here in the middle of their capital, they just left this tree. They cut a couple branches so that they could build this thing, but they did not sacrifice the whole tree. And now it seems like they have come here and did some tests, and there are a couple of green marks on it. Well, in Germany, green usually means that the tree is supposed to be left alone to survive. Red would mean that they will cut it, that they would cut it off, but this has green signs. I hope this means the same as in Germany, that the tree is gonna be left alone. I really wish that it can enjoy life for a couple more decades, maybe even centuries. Well, not so sure. This giant branch I'm standing under, this is almost a meter thick and the bark is gone, so this branch is not gonna live much longer. In a year or three, they'll have to cut it off, but the rest of the tree, well, might be a sorry remnant, but at least it will survive for a couple more years. At least they are trying to save it. Look at this. This city basically grew around the street. It was probably planted in the very early years when the city basically consisted of wooden houses. And it's housing so many different plants, so many ferns and